Hey, what's up, everybody? Chicago Goon here, bringing you another Arsenal talk. Well, almost. The boys almost pulled it out. They fought hard. What can what else can you really say about them? There's not anything bad that I can really say about any of the players except for one, and I'll point that out a little bit later in this Arsenal talk. But 2-0 was the score line. Aaron Ramsey got another, Giroud in 36th minute, Aaron Ramsey in the 79th minute. We had plenty of time. We had about 15, 16 minutes to really nick that last goal, and it just wasn't to be, unfortunately. Um, just got done watching the second half. I was able to watch the first half live and then listen to the rest on the radio. And the radio commentators, I mean, they were fucking awful. And for the last 10 minutes of the game, they never even really talked at all. All they kept on saying was Arsenal still has time. They still have time. They still have time to nick a goal. But they were never talking about the game of who had possession or what was going on, and it was kind of annoying. But watching the replay back, and I mean, what else can you say about the players? I mean, they just gave it everything they had. I mean, every single player. I mean, they were completely gassed by the end of the game. Every single player gave it everything they had, and you can't ask for anything more. As people were hashtagging it, the miracle at Monaco. Um, that's what we needed to happen. Of course, like I said, listen to it on the radio. I was just kind of like, come on, give us a little bit of luck for once. We had to deal with 9 years of crap and injuries, and let something go our way once in a while. Let us go through because we are the better team, and we're the more prestigious team to go through and to make even the quarterfinal like a real match rather than a team who just like basically parks the bus the entire time. And it is kind of annoying, but again, you can't say one bad thing about the players. Olivier Giroud, I mean, God, what a fucking warrior throughout the entire game. I mean, just giving it everything he had. I felt sorry for him. Seeing the team sheet coming out right at the beginning of the game, kind of just shook my head a little bit. I was really hoping for a different formation, different kind of lineup in the formation. When you're down 3 goals, maybe winning 3-0 against West Ham was played a little bit against us. Kind of like proven, oh, we can score 3 goals, no problem, and against a West Ham team who is, didn't even get off the bus to begin with in that game, who was uninspired to even play that game, and maybe that worked a little bit against us, especially with Arsene Wenger and whatever kind of tactics he thought he was going to be making for this game. And I just kind of shook my head because I really felt that if we really wanted to go after it, if we really wanted to win this game, that we needed as many attackers on the pitch at one time, and it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. But going back to Olivier Giroud, I felt sorry for him because a lot of the game, I mean, he was doing the work by himself. There wasn't a whole lot of times that you saw Alexis Sanchez in the box or Danny Welbeck try to support him here and there. But as far as support, he really didn't get much at all. It would have been light years of a different game if you had Welbeck and Giroud up top. I mean, Giroud would have had a partner to work with and someone who was equally, his work rate is equal to his, even more, and that pace on top of that with Welbeck, who's also a tall guy, athletic, who's great in the air. He's proven he's great in the air, and in the past, and it just wasn't there. Arsene Wenger decided to go with one striker up top, but Olivier Giroud, like I said, warrior. I mean, 50-50 balls, he went after every single one of them. Even when he didn't have a chance in hell to get after the ball, he still went after it. He was really using his, his strength and his power, and throughout the entire game, he was trying to make things happen, trying to get anything on goal. He had a few chances other than his goal too as well, but I mean, you can't say one bad thing about him. Danny Welbeck, he was basically our most dangerous player next to Giroud, especially at the time he spent on the pitch. Why he got taken out of the game is beyond me. I mean, that was a piss poor decision by Arsene Wenger to take him out of the game. When they announced Theo Walcott was coming on into the game, I thought, okay, good. We're going to put Welbeck and Giroud up top, and then Theo's going to be on the other wing, and we're going to take out one of the fullbacks, which we should have did. And he takes out Welbeck. When you're trying to cross the ball in, when you're trying to, I mean, Giroud was surrounded at times by 3-4 Monaco players, and what else can you expect when your striker is just surrounded by players? I mean, it needs to be the perfect cross, the perfect scenario. I mean, everything needs to be perfect for him to get a goal. And I mean, even his goal, he didn't give up on it. He took a first-time shot, ricocheted off the keeper, and he didn't give up on it. And he plugged it back in the back of the net. But at the same time, you're thinking, why the fuck are you taking? You still need 2 goals at that point to win the game, or to win the complete legs, both legs, and to go on to the quarterfinals. But you're taking Welbeck out, a goal scorer who, which you need inside the box, that would just help Giroud out tremendously, who would take a defender away, maybe even 2 defenders away from Giroud, because Danny Welbeck is so dangerous, especially with his pace, and he takes him out. I mean, that was a fucking brain fart. That's the one person that you can point the finger at in this game is Arsene Wenger and his tactics, and I mean, taking Welbeck out was just the dumbest thing possible at that certain point. No time during the telecast or even the radio broadcast that I heard that Danny Welbeck was coming off because of an injury or a sprained ankle or a pulled hamstring or anything. He just took him out. You're still down by 2 goals to win the whole thing, and you're taking a goal scorer off for a player who is not even close to being in form, who is afraid to shoot. I mean, you saw that against West Ham with Theo Walcott, and it was just I wanted to bang my head against something. Unfortunately, I was driving, so I couldn't really do that. But it was just a complete brain fart when you need a goal, when you need more support up top, and you're taking the one guy who can give you that support out of the game. That was the biggest brain fart of the whole fucking game, to be honest with you. It was smart bringing in Aaron Ramsey. What's the point of having the fullbacks on the pitch? Honestly, I think Bellerin had maybe 1 good cross the entire fucking game. I don't think Montreal had any good crosses, but I would leave him in the game and just do a back 3 and just say, you know what, you 3 are it. You're the defense. That's it. Have your brick wall, have your line set up, and it's just you 3. That's it. Everybody else is attacking. But that's not how it worked. He kept Bellerin on. He kept, he actually took Montreal off for Gibbs. It was just, what are these tactics that Arsene Wenger is giving us? Why do that? When you need 2 goals, you're taking off basically our most dangerous player next to Giroud through that entire game, and you take him off the pitch. It just, it's a head scratcher. It really is. I just don't get it. I don't. That's not, for me, that's not going for it. That's not saying, okay, we're just going to leave it all on the field by the manager. It just doesn't make any sense to me that you would do something like that when the game we're screaming for 2 strikers up top. Especially when a team parks the bus, when they're going to have 7, 8 guys in the box when we're in the final third. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. that he does something like that. Um, I would have, I mean, like I said, I would have took Bellerin off, put the back three, even bring on Theo Walcott as the right winger, put Welbeck up top with Giroud. I mean, the goals would have been there then. The defense, or Monaco's defense, would have had to spread themselves out a little bit more. They would have had to worry about another threat, and bringing in Theo Walcott with his pace on top of that. I mean, it was there. I mean, it was there. It was there for the taking. Unfortunately, we just couldn't do it. Um, you know, the other guys, Santi and Ozil, in the beginning of the game, like the first 20 minutes was just like, oh my God, what's going on here? Because the first 20 minutes was like the entire game that we played at the Emirates against Monaco. We couldn't complete more than 2 or 3 passes at a time. We were giving the ball away. Players were just they weren't calm. They were on edge pretty much in the first 20 minutes. They were trying to get all 3 goals in that first 20 minutes. I mean, Ozil was trying to make crazy passes. Santi was trying to make crazy passes. Sanchez was trying to take on defenders and losing the ball. Just everybody was basically doing that. We couldn't keep possession for a good length of time, and tried to set up our offense until about like the 25th minute, when we finally really started to settle in and we started to really make ourselves dangerous. And when you saw maybe little cracks in the defense of Monaco, and a little bit of the pressure started to mount on Monaco as far as our attack went, and they looked a little on edge. Even at the end of the game, they looked on edge, like oh God, we can't give this up. We can't do this. We can't let this happen. And but again, like that first 20 minutes were on edge, but once we started to settle in, then people started moving. It started to become faster. Santi and Ozil had people to pick out and pass the ball to. Like I said, in the first 20 minutes, even in the first game, it was like 11 statues on the pitch. No one was moving, no one was making themselves available. But once that 25th minute hit, people were making themselves available. People were making runs. People were coming to the ball rather than just sitting in their their spot, their region, their radius of what they're supposed to be in, given their position. Whether we're trying to play, a wide type of version of the formation, or we were trying to play more narrow. People were starting to come to the ball. Giroud was coming out from his position to get, to create space for Ozil and Santi, and trying to make space for others and whatnot. And but again, everybody just gave everything they had. Ozil, Santi, everybody. I mean, everybody was just gassed by the end of the game. I mean, just imagine if we can take from this game and just play like that every single game, especially from here on out. I mean, we would be untouchable. It would be tough. We would be tough to beat, regardless of who we play. And these players should be. I mean, there's no such thing, I think, as moral victories. Moral victories are for, bottom half teams, or, teams who are just like happy to be there. Again, they should be somewhat proud of themselves by the way they played and the way they fought, and in the heart they showed, and the passion that they showed today. Especially playing with each other, and just playing as a team. You could see every single player wanted it. Every single player really wanted to win this game, and to kind of redeem themselves from the last game at the Emirates. But again, it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately, for these players. And but you have to applaud them. As fans, we have to stand up and applaud them, and just thank them for busting their ass and playing as they did. They just came up a little bit short, unfortunately. But again, looking at Arsene Wenger and the tactics that he showed, I don't get it. I really don't get why you just don't. At some point in time, you have to change the formation. You have to change to the point to where you need more guys in the box. Not just your striker. I mean, not just maybe a striker and a winger, or I mean, it's just. It was screaming for a different formation. It was screaming for 2 strikers up top, and sometimes the finger might have to be pointed at him for not putting his players in a position to really win the game, especially at the end there. And taking Welbeck out was a huge brain fart. Um, but again, I guess you have to applaud them and hope that this doesn't kill any sort of confidence or any type of uh, uh, of hope going forward, because we still have plenty of games left in the league. We still have, I believe, 9 games left in the league. We still have 2 FA Cup games to go, the semifinal and the final. Yeah, we will make the final. We're playing Reading. But again, will it be kind of like a Bayern Munich type setting from a couple of years ago, to where we went to their place, we beat them 2-0, and it kind of gave us the confidence to finish out the season and to regain and to get into that 4th spot. I really hope these players take that. I hope it's the same effect. I hope they kind of come back as well, being pissed off as well, saying we should have won that game. We should have went through to the quarterfinals. Hopefully they do show that. Hopefully they do show that a little bit of a fire and passion and whatnot going into the rest of the season, because there's still the EPL season and there's still the FA Cup. We still have a chance at hardware or silverware at the end of the season. And if these players play like that for the rest of the season, Liverpool, Manchester United, Chelsea, they don't stand a chance against us, and we can win those games. And I know there's people are having a glimmer of hope that we can still win the league, or we still have a chance at it. But don't give your hopes up too much. Don't be disappointed if we end up second, because it's still, given the fact of our injuries and what we had to deal with for the umpteenth time as Arsenal fans, it's a pretty decent accomplishment to end up finishing second in the league, if we do finish second in the league or even third in the league. But as long as we take the rest of the season seriously and win the FA Cup, I still think that would be a successful season. Because we have Newcastle right afterwards. It's going up to Newcastle. It's never an easy place to go to. They stick all the Arsenal fans up in a corner. But it's a game to be won. I mean, Newcastle, they're young. They're, I think they're going to Korsini, or whatever his name is. I think he's going to be out for the game because he had a red card in the previous game. But still going to be a tough game. They're young. They're still trying to find their experience, and they're still trying to find themselves a little bit. But with a team like that, it can be dangerous regardless. And we need to go up there and we need to do the business. And we need to come back strong and take 3 points, because every point matters at this point. Between second and 5th place, it's a matter of 4 points, which is crazy. It's seeing what the last 3 spots of the Champions League is going to be probably more interesting of Chelsea even winning the league, to be honest with you. It's going to be, of course, you got the drop zone and all that kind of drama as well. But, we're going to really find out, I think, when we go up to Newcastle, of what this team is made of. Have they took that next step forward to really believe in themselves and to have that confidence, and regardless of what happens, regardless of getting knocked out of the Champions League, can they find enough confidence? Can they find enough willpower to go up there and get 3 points? I hope they do. I hope they have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. I hope they play a little bit pissed off, but also have to maintain that confidence in the BPL. But the one player that I wanted to single out from this game is Theo Walcott. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. He's my favorite player. But what's going on right now with him is it's starting to really piss me off as a fan. Today's game, listening to on the radio, I heard his name twice. Throughout the whole time he was on the pitch, I heard his name twice. When he got introduced as a sub, and then when he hit the post right before Aaron Ramsey's goal. and I didn't hear his name for the rest of the game. I didn't hear his name other than that. Other than those two times, that's it. Watching the replay too, um, didn't really, the commentators kept on saying, Theo needs to get behind. Theo needs to, show his pace and show his ability to get behind the defense, and it just really wasn't happening. And the one thing that's pissing me off is, part of it's his agent. Right now his contract thing it's just totally media driven. It happened in 2012, the 12 and 13 season, right in the beginning of the season. His agent, and Theo made it known that I want to sign a new contract. I want a contract. I deserve 100,000 pounds a week, and and all this crap. It was a distraction. It was a distraction early in that season, and right now it's the end of the season. We're fighting for top four. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the Champions League up until tonight, and all this bullshit is coming out. It almost seems like it's more about Theo Walcott now than it is actually about Arsenal. And that's the one thing that just irritates the shit out of me. It really pisses me off to no end that a player is stepping forward and saying, I'm more important than the team. You're not. He's not. And at some point, Theo has to come out and really say something. Because he's not saying anything right now. About this. This crap has been going on for 3 weeks now, 3 weeks now, with his contract talks and all this shit coming out in the media. Arsene Wenger is answering questions about it. The players are answering questions about it. It's fucking ridiculous. At the end of the season, when you need to be focused on the season, the rest of the season, when you need to be focused on the FA Cup, when you need to be focused on Champions League, all of a sudden all these contract talks start coming out. For a guy who has been out for basically a season. He was out for even more than that, given his abdominal injury that he had in the beginning of last season. But he's coming out with contract talks, money's being splashed all over the place, media's going crazy over it. You have to thank his agent for that, and you have to thank him for that. The last time I checked, it's not the agent, it's not the player who's working for the agent, it's the agent working for the player. Theo could scrap all this. Theo could just come out and say, you know what, I'm going to finish out the season and then we can talk about contracts. Because this is not the time or place to start talking about this shit. And it really pisses me off, especially given his form, given the fact that, West Ham, this game, where was he? What's he doing? Has he really proven that he deserves a new contract? No. I don't think he does. I think he still has 2-3 years left on his original contract, and he's already asking for more money. He's already asking for another extension. This isn't the time and place to come out and do this, especially now, when the players are trying to be focused on trying to get through the next stage of the Champions League. FA Cup, the season. We're fighting for our lives here to try to play in Champions League next year, and here's Theo Walcott. Well, I want a new contract. It's fucking bullshit. It's really bullshit. Of a player of his stature, and this is nothing new for him. He did this in 2012, and it was a distraction in the beginning of 2012-13 season. And now he's doing it again. Why? Why are you doing this? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It really doesn't. He's been with the club since he's 16 years old, so this is nothing new for him. He's seen players go through contract talks and all this other crap. Now's not the time to do this. And like I said, all he has to do is come out and say, you know what, we'll settle this in the off season. Nope, he hasn't done that yet. And of course, his fucking agent is going ham, leaking shit all over the place to different outlets. Daily Mail, Telegraph. Take your pick. You can go on Twitter right now and there's something about Theo Walcott's, within the last 10-15 minutes there's some tweet about Theo Walcott's fucking contract. It's bullshit. It really is. And even Arsene Wenger came out and said his agent is very difficult to deal with. I mean, it's really just ridiculous. And he should know better. I get a player is trying to secure his future and all that, but at a time like this, and this time in this part of the season, it's just sickening. It really is. And he's my favorite player, and I'm saying this shit. And I mean, he needs to stop it some way somehow, instead of doing all this crap. But that's all I got on that. Let me know what you think about that. I know there was a couple comments made about Theo in the last couple episodes of Arsenal Talk, and obviously it's getting to the fans as well. You can, like I said, you can see it on Twitter. You just go on Twitter and someone's talking about it. Someone's tweeting Theo and saying just sign the damn thing and get it over with, instead of making it a big. It's all it is drama. It's creating drama that just doesn't need to be there, especially at this point of the season. It's really ridiculous, to be honest with you. I mean, if you look over the years too, Aaron Ramsey was through talks last year. You hardly ever heard about it until he signed his contract, his new contract. Olivier Giroud, you heard it in the beginning of the year that he wanted a new contract and he wants to, extend his contract to stay with Arsenal. But other than, when he was out with injury, you really didn't hear much about it after that. I haven't heard anything about it since then. Mikel Arteta, I mean, that came out of nowhere too, that he was going to sign a new contract. But Theo's like the biggest drama queen when it comes to contracts. It's ridiculous. There's no one player, when I was on the Emirates tour with Charlie George, and he really made it a point of emphasis that when you have 11 guys, when you have a full team that plays for the badge, no one player is more important than the badge. And Charlie George needs to find Theo Walcott somewhere and slap him across the face and tell him that, so he gets that. Because again, too, if you get put on the pitch, you need to show yourself. You need to prove to Arsene Wenger and everybody else, and all the executives who are going to sign off on that contract, to give him that much money, to whatever whatever kind of contract that he wants. I heard it can go all the way up to £170,000, which is fucking ridiculous, to £125,000, which is maybe okay. I don't know, but leave your comments down below. Again, we'll see what the players are made of this coming Saturday against Newcastle. Like I said, hopefully they play with the chip on their shoulder. Hopefully they play a little pissed off. Hopefully they come out guns firing. Hopefully they still have some legs left. They're gonna need at least a day or two of just complete rest, because all those guys just gave their hearts and souls, for the badge to try to get to the next round. And like I said, they, other than criticizing, players are getting criticized left and right, which is just fucking ridiculous, from fans and pundits, and it's just kind of ridiculous of how some fans act, that they call themselves Arsenal fans, and they're really just trying to criticize different players. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous. But leave your comments down below, and tell me what you think about the whole Theo drama, and are we going to come back stronger next year? Let's hope. Let's hope. Next year maybe be a dream run again in the Champions League if we can stay healthy for once. But that'll be it for now, and I'll be doing a review of the Newcastle game probably on Saturday, and that'll be it. Later.